While he may not be nearly as iconic as Hulk Hogan, John Cena, The Rock, or even his brother, The Undertaker, Kane is still a true WWE legend. Between all his various characters, the Big Red Machine has wrestled over 2,800 matches in WWE. With such a lengthy career, Kane has been in a lot of good and bad storylines. The worst, or at least the most infamous story that Kane was a part of, involved a girl named Katie Vick. This was not only one of Kane's worst storylines, but one of the worst storylines in WWE history. Why was it so awful? Well, let's find out by starting at the beginning. After being absent for about 4 months, Kane made his return to WWE. The Big Red Machine attacked the group called the Un-Americans, who were trying to burn an American flag. Kane was also sporting a new half mask that allowed him to speak more easily. The next week, Kane took on Lance Storm and Christian in his first match back. The Devil's Favorite Demon won, adding fuel to his feud with the Un-Americans, who were also the World Tag Team Champions. Kane continued feuding with the Un-Americans, winning the majority of his matches against them. This eventually led to a match for the Tag Team Championship. Kane needed a tag team partner though, so he chose fellow masked wrestler, the Hurricane. It was a wise choice, as the two defeated the Un-Americans and became the new World Tag Team Champions. Kane then explained why he chose Hurricane after the match.
You want to know why I picked this guy as my tag team partner? Look at him. He's a freak, just like me. Freaks are cool.
Kane was doing good, but things were about to start taking an unfortunate turn.
Because at No Mercy, I'm going to do something unprecedented. The Intercontinental Champion facing the World Heavyweight Champion, winner take all.
The week after winning the World Tag Team Championship, Kane was put into an Intercontinental Championship match against Chris Jericho. Whoever won would face the World Heavyweight Champion, Triple H, at the No Mercy pay-per-view. Before the match, Jericho met with The Game and Ric Flair to try and screw Kane out of the title. This led to the King of Kanes and the dirtiest player in the game interfering during the Intercontinental Championship match. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to throw Kane off, and the Big Red Machine won. Not only was he a dual champion, but Kane also earned himself a World Heavyweight Championship match at No Mercy. Now, this is where the storyline really kicked off. Things got even more personal and heated the next week. On the first ever Raw Roulette, Kane and Hurricane were put into a TLC match with their titles on the line. Before the match though, Triple H and Ric Flair attacked Hurricane backstage and unmasked the Big Red Machine's tag team partner. This forced Kane to defend the World Tag Team Championship by himself. Despite the odds, the Big Red Machine got the job done and retained the tag team titles. However, the celebration was cut short by Triple H, who dropped this question on his No Mercy opponent.
Let me ask you a question, Kane. How happy is Katie Vick? That's right. I know, Kane. I know it all. You are a murderer.
The show ended on a cliffhanger, and we wouldn't get any more answers until next week. When Raw started, backstage interviewer Jonathan Coachman tried to ask Kane about Triple H's accusations, but Kane refused to answer. Kane and Hurricane then had to defend their tag team championship against Chris Jericho and Christian. Triple H's murder accusations were living rent-free in Kane's mind, and he could not focus on the match. This led to the champions being defeated and losing their belts. To make things even worse for the Big Red Machine, Triple H said that if Kane didn't explain who Katie Vick was, then the Game would himself. A little while later, another backstage interviewer, Terry Runnels, approached Kane. Kane and Terry had sort of developed a thing when he kissed her after winning the World Tag Team Championship. It was 2002, folks. Anyways, Terry told Kane that the only way he stood a chance at defeating Triple H was if he got this Katie Vick thing off his chest. The Devil's Favorite Demon agreed and headed to the ring to pull back the curtain and explain who Katie was. Kane revealed that Katie Vick was a friend Kane had 10 years earlier. The two went to a party where Katie got drunk. Kane decided to drive her home, but he got into a car accident when an animal jumped in front of their vehicle. The Big Red Machine survived, but Katie Vick was killed instantly. Triple H then interrupted and revealed that Kane had been drinking at that party too. He also said that Kane and Katie were more than just friends and implied the two had slept with each other. To make it personal, Triple H said Katie Vick never really loved Kane and then added this.
Look at you. Who could realistically love a burnt up freak like you?
The game ended by asking if Kane slept with Katie while she was alive or after she had died. After this, Kane stormed out of the building in rage. Triple H then did an interview and revealed that someone gave him the information about Katie Vick. He also warned Terry Runnels to stay away from the Big Red Machine. With things more personal than ever, Kane and Triple H squared off at No Mercy, with both the world title and the Intercontinental title on the line. As expected, Triple H didn't play fair, and Ric Flair also got involved. The Hurricane came out to help his tag team partner, but it wasn't enough, and Kane ultimately ate a pedigree and lost the match and his championship. Unfortunately, the next night, things were about to get much worse. Triple H kicked off the show and mocked Kane. He also said he had a tape that would reveal if Kane slept with Katie Vick before or after she died. The Hurricane ran in to stand up to Triple H and Ric Flair, but it was 1 against 2 and Hurricane got beaten up. Finally, later in the show, Triple H revealed what was on the tape and, in doing so, created one of the most infamous moments in WWE history. Once the video started playing, we saw Triple H pretending to be Kane as he entered a funeral home. He went over to a mannequin in a casket, which was supposed to be Katie Vick. The game, as Kane, pretended to have a conversation with Katie. He said she caused Kane to get into the accident, and to make things even worse, Triple H took off his shirt and did some demonetization things to the Katie mannequin. Needless to say, but this is one of the worst things WWE has ever done.
I really did. I screwed your brains out.
Later, Triple H and Kane would meet face to face again in the main event of the show, when they fought in a tag team match also involving RVD and Ric Flair. Kane, of course, was focused on the King of Kanes, and this eventually led to the two leaving the ring and brawling backstage. Kane incapacitated Triple H and, with help from Hurricane, locked the world champion in the trunk of a car.
Now, I'm gonna screw you!
The show came to an end with Kane driving away with Triple H in tow. The next week, Raw began with a frickin' casket. No, as it turned out, Kane had not actually killed Triple H. The game got in the ring and revealed he escaped before Kane drove away. You can actually see the trunk door open when Kane drives away, so good attention to detail. Anyways, Triple H doubled down on a stunt from last week and pulled out the Katie Vick mannequin from the casket. The King of Kanes used it to mock Kane some more, saying the Big Red Machine had a small burnt wiener. The moment got stopped by the Hurricane, who said Triple H didn't escape the car, and they had footage from the hospital that the game went to that night. A video then played showing medical staff pulling a bunch of junk out of Triple H's butt. Interestingly enough, one of the things they pulled out was a hand. And of course, the last thing that was back there was Triple H's own head. Seeing this, Triple H became irate and destroyed the Katie Vick mannequin. Kane then came out, and the two started brawling. It got so bad that a small army was needed to separate them. The Raw general manager, Eric Bischoff, then announced that this had to come to an end, and set up a casket match between Kane and Triple H for later that night. A few moments later, we heard, via a secret backstage camera, that Ric Flair wasn't going to be at the show due to the weather, leaving Triple H alone to deal with Kane. Finally, it was main event time. The Big Red Machine started fighting as soon as he got into the ring. Even though the game didn't have Ric Flair by his side, Triple H was still a tough opponent. Thankfully, Kane got some assistance from another one of Triple H's rivals, Shawn Michaels. With help from the Heartbreak Kid, Kane was able to win the match and close the lid on this bizarre storyline. There have been a lot of bad feuds in WWE, but this one stands out. The main reason for that is really because of the funeral home scene. Had that not happened, I don't think the name Katie Vick would be nearly as infamous as it is. Honestly, I like the idea of fleshing out wrestlers and revealing more of their backstory, especially for a character like Kane, but this isn't what I want to see. Apparently, WWE had a wrestler in development called Scott Vick, better known as Sick Boy in WCW. The plan was for Scott Vick to be the older brother of Katie Vick, and this storyline was how Scott would make his debut on the main roster. Unfortunately, the higher-ups weren't impressed with him, and he got fired before appearing on TV. As you may recall, in the storyline, Triple H said that someone gave him the info about Katie Vick. I wonder if that person was supposed to be Scott Vick. I would imagine that Scott would have been on Triple H's side and blamed Kane for the death of his sister, but that's all me speculating. Anyways, after the Katie Vick storyline, Kane and Triple H crossed paths again a few weeks later when they competed in the first ever Elimination Chamber match. Neither man won, as it was Shawn Michaels who had his hand raised. Despite all this, the Katie Vick storyline did very little damage to Triple H and Kane's careers. They are both icons, and are remembered for way more than this storyline. I do have to give WWE respect though. They didn't remove the Katie Vick storyline when they put these shows on the WWE Network and Peacock. They also aren't embarrassed to bring it up from time to time. Stephanie McMahon mentioned it as a joke when she congratulated Kane on his WWE Hall of Fame induction. Also, in 2012, Kane made a sneaky little reference to Katie Vick on Raw.
Years ago, I had a girlfriend named Katie, but let's just say that didn't turn out so well.
One other infamous storyline that Kane was a part of was his imposter storyline. To see what happened, watch the video on screen.